Hey everyone, my name is Charlie Ifra and welcome to my podcast. Today we're going to be discussing AI or artificial intelligence. So we're going to talk about what AI is, high level on how it works. We'll also talk about how much we interact with AI today, especially in the social media platforms. We'll talk about the future of AI and some of the things that you should be aware of and some of the pros and cons around artificial intelligence. So let's start with what is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is very different than a regular computer program because regular computer programs are basically a set of instructions that are coded by a software engineer. And it's really something along the lines of if the user presses this button, then show them this menu. And so it's really just a set of instructions from the programmer. And the computer knows how to respond to the user's input based on those instructions. AI works very differently. The way AI works is it's really a virtual brain. So it's a virtual brain working on some very, very powerful computers. And a virtual brain, it's really just a mathematical expression, but it's made up of these virtual neurons. And when millions and millions of data inputs are fed into this neural network, it forms connections between these virtual neurons. And through learning, it's able to achieve its goal. Now, AIs today are designed to achieve one goal. And so if you think about humans, we're able to achieve many goals by learning. So a good example of learning in human intelligence is a baby. So when a baby is first born, it doesn't know how to walk. And once it's, laying in its crib for long enough, it's going to try to, get up. And then it may fall, and then slowly but surely it'll figure out how to kind of get up. Then it'll learn how to crawl. Eventually it's going to try to stand. It'll fall many thousands of times, but it'll keep getting up. And eventually it stands up, and then it takes its first step and second step and so on. Eventually it learns how to walk. Now this baby is forming neural connections as it's doing all of these trials, as it's trying to stand up and so on. So the AIs are developed in the same way. But a baby can then go on to learn something else outside of just walking. And the AIs of today don't. So the AIs of today are programmed to achieve a goal. And the AIs of the future the aim is to program them to achieve any type of goal. So any general task, it'll be able to learn and figure out how to do. Now, those AIs are not around today yet, and those are what the computer world calls AGIs, which is artificial general intelligence. So the difference between AI and AGI is that AIs are able to learn and master one task when AGIs are going to be able to be across multiple domains. Any general task that we humans are able to learn, the AGIs will be able to learn. Now, AGIs are not here today. It's still many companies, and I'm sure like Department of Defense and other governments are working hard to achieve it. But AGIs are not something of the present, and it's something that whoever does develop AGI successfully may become the new world superpower. So let's hope that the Western world develops it first, because there are some consequences, and a lot of people are worried about when AGI actually happens, how it's going to affect the world and humanity. But for now, let's talk about the regular AI, which is also known as narrow AI. And let's talk about how we interact with it every day. So the main place we interact with narrow AI or regular AI are on the social media platforms. And something to know is that the only way big social media platforms can operate today is using artificial intelligence. And the reason is because of the scale that these platforms operate on. These platforms, we interact with Facebook, for example, or Instagram in the United States, and we interact with it in English, and we have our group of friends. And a lot of times we don't realize that there are people all over the world that are having the exact same experience as we are, but that experience is happening in their language and within their culture. And so the only way that that is able or possible to happen at scale is with artificial intelligences. And these AIs are basically doing all the content moderation. They're managing which users are on the platform, which users are not allowed to be on the platform. And these AIs are doing it in a way to achieve their one goal. And the AI's one goal on the social media platforms is to keep you, the user, engaged. And so sometimes the AIs will use techniques to keep you engaged by serving up content that makes you happy. Content like, a video of puppies, or they'll have content of like some political opponent that you can't stand, and you'll see it on social media, and it'll trigger you, and it'll cause you to comment and then argue with people. But the AI is not really focused on what you're doing. The AI is focused on making sure that it's keeping you on the platform and engaged for as long as possible. Now, why is it doing that? And the reason it's doing it is because the longer you're on that platform, the more that platform could serve advertising up to you. And so the platforms, they make money off advertising engagement. So if the content that the AI is serving up to you can keep you engaged, then the platform can benefit by monetizing you, the user, to its advertisers. And so one of the things that you should remember when you use a social media platform, and for that matter, any software product that you don't pay for, they say that if the product is free, then you are the product. And it's really interesting because social media networks have a tremendous benefit, but you need to be very aware of the information that you're giving the AIs, because it will use it in order to keep you engaged. Now, there is another AI that we interact with every day, and it's very different than the social media platforms, and that's Google Search. So Google Search, when you think about it, it's called the biggest ear in the world. Now, the reason it's called the biggest ear in the world is because unlike social media platforms, where people will show, how great their life is, and they'll post comments about how amazing their boyfriend or girlfriend is, in Google, what people are typing into the search field is really the most personal, deepest, and sometimes darkest secrets. And so people are not typing in anything that they're showing off about into the Google search field. They're actually typing in the things that are the most personal. And Google is collecting all of this information, and it knows all of the deepest, darkest secrets that people have. And it's something that is making Google like almost a global intelligence. And it's something that you need to be aware, where Google knows you better than your brothers and sisters and spouses and parents. And there is a likelihood that Google might know you better than you know yourself. And it's something to really think about. Now, it's not a bad thing that AIs are learning so much about us, because there's a tremendous amount of convenience to the AIs knowing us and being able to serve us with helpful things, make our lives better, make us more efficient. But having said that, there is some downsides to AIs, because AIs can be used against you. And that's where I come to the next social platform, which is TikTok. So TikTok is the most persuasive social media platform that has ever been built. It's far more persuasive than the Facebook, Instagram, Snapchats. It is made to keep you engaged to the point where people are engaged in that platform far more than any of the other platforms. People can be on TikTok for hours and hours a day. Now, what people don't realize is that TikTok is so persuasive that they can serve up videos 10 in a row of something that makes you really happy, and the 11th one can be something that they're trying to persuade you on. And the persuasion level on TikTok is unlike anyone has ever seen before in social media. The other thing is that the TikTok terms and conditions is something that people need to be very careful, because it has access to pretty much every aspect of your phone, including the microphone and your screen while you're using other apps. And it's something that you need to be very aware of. Personally, I think that people should not have TikTok installed on their phone. I think it's a complete invasion of privacy. And here's why we have to be more concerned than the Snapchats, the Instagrams, and the Facebooks of the world. And the reason is because TikTok is controlled by the government of China. They have access to all of the data that the TikTok users have. Now, right now, we may not feel it and we may not see it, but as artificial intelligence gets more advanced, the wars between countries are no longer going to be done with military, like on the battlefield. The new war is cyber war. And the cyber war is really the war on who can control and who can gain the minds of the human population. And so if an adversary has control and that level of persuasion, which will only get bigger and better over the children, the younger generation in for example, in America or in Canada, then these applications have a tremendous amount of, they have the possibility to influence us and our children in a way that is very, very hard to wrap your head around. So in summary, AI is here to stay. AI has its good and its bad, and it's up to you to be aware of what applications you interact with, and do the research to see if these applications are trustworthy and if these applications are things that you feel are good for you or your children to want to interact with. Now, I'm going to be doing some future videos about some amazing AI tools that are available to us immediately. I use a lot of them in my personal life and in my business life, and they make everything so much more efficient. They make me look smarter, and I want to share these tools with you, and I think that they'll truly help you. And so please follow and like this episode, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye for now.